These three amendments really deal with one of the most profound and important elements of our national defense. This is the nuclear system. I think those members of the committee that have spent time on this, very, very thoughtful. There's a disagreement. Mr. Moulton just spoke to some of that disagreement a moment ago about how to deal with this. These weapons, if ever used, it's the game over. The game over. We can talk about, well, they're just going to be tactical and on, but the reality is, if ever used, the game is over. And this amendment that I spoke to earlier is one piece of that. And I want us to inform ourselves and to ask the questions, why are we proceeding with this? My view is that we can do better to provide for nuclear deterrence than the current ICBM ground-based systems, which ultimately are extraordinarily dangerous because they are at the ready, always, as was pointed out. And therefore, if there is an alert, there's less than, 10, 12, 15 minutes for the president to make a mistake to launch or not. We've had incidents in the past that were frightening if you were to spend time learning about those incidents. They can't be recalled. So I want us to be wise. I want us to think through this one, 400. Why 400? Well, because somebody wrote 400, and forevermore it's 400, without going to the details. I said I'd take a minute, Mr. Chairman. How about if I take 2.5 minutes? I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Tennessee, Dr. Desjardins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I oppose the amendment which would strike a provision in the bill that prohibits reducing the nation's intercontinental ballistic missile fleet below its current size of 400 missiles. I can't answer the 400 question. Maybe 399, maybe it's 401. We live in a round number world, so it's 400. Every year since 2016, Congress has included provisions in the Defense Authorization Bill to effectively prohibit any further reduction in our ICBM force. And the logic is very simple. Nuclear threats are growing, and now is not the time to make cuts to our ICBM fleet. That was true in 2016, and it's even more true today as China's ICBM forces continue to rapidly expand and may soon outnumber ours. An identical amendment was debated last year and was rejected on a strong bipartisan basis, 13 to 45. I would urge my colleagues to again oppose this amendment. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Does any other member seek recognition of Mr. Garamendi's amendment? Seeing none, there's no further debate on the question. Occurs on the amendment now offered by Mr. Garamendi. So many in favor will say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. No. Opinion chair, the noes have it. A recorded vote is not requested.
Representative John Raymond Garamendi introduced an amendment addressing one of the most critical aspects of national defense, the country's nuclear weapons system. He stressed that the use of such weapons would have devastating and irreversible consequences, rendering any conflict effectively over. While acknowledging debates within the committee about how best to handle nuclear deterrence, he questioned the continued reliance on ground-based intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs. Garamendi argued that these systems pose a significant danger because they are always on high alert, leaving the president with only a brief window, sometimes as little as 10 to 15 minutes, to decide whether to launch in the event of a perceived threat. Such rapid decision-making, he noted, increases the risk of catastrophic mistakes, as history has already shown with past close calls. Once launched, these missiles cannot be recalled. He specifically challenged the logic behind maintaining exactly 400 ICBMs, suggesting the figure was arbitrary and inherited without meaningful review. He urged lawmakers to rethink this approach and consider safer, more modern strategies for nuclear deterrence. Opposing the amendment, Representative Scott Desjardins of Tennessee defended the existing provision that prohibits reducing the fleet below its current number. He pointed out that since 2016, Congress has upheld this threshold to ensure U.S. strength amid growing nuclear threats. He warned that with China's ICBM forces expanding rapidly, the U.S. cannot afford to weaken its position. Desjardins reminded colleagues that a similar amendment was debated the previous year and rejected on a strong bipartisan basis. Following the brief exchange, the committee voted by voice to reject Garamendi's proposal, with no recorded vote requested.